I used to work the night shift at Walmart, and before that job I thought retail was the safest, most boring work you could possibly have. Folding clothes, stocking shelves, cleaning up spills. People assume nothing scary can happen under bright fluorescent lights, but they've never stayed past midnight. When the doors are locked, the parking lot is empty, and the store feels less like a business and more like something waiting. Our location had recently stopped being open 24 hours. We closed at 11 p.m. sharp. Customers out by 11:15, and by 11:30, the automatic doors were shut and locked until morning. After that, it was just 5 of us inside, until 5 a.m. me, my supervisor Carl, and 3 other overnight associates spread across different departments. No music played after closing. Half the lights were dimmed to save power. All you could hear was the low electrical hum of refrigerators and the occasional metallic pop from the building settling. It was quiet in a way that didn't feel natural. Around 12:47 a.m., I was stocking the toy aisle. I hated toys at night. The dolls always looked like they were watching you, and the motion-activated displays sometimes made random noises if you walked too close. I was cutting open a sealed box when I heard a ball bouncing, slow, hollow, echoing down the aisle. Bioing. Pause. Bioing. Pause. Bowing. I froze and listened carefully. No one else was assigned to toys that night. "Carl," I whispered into my walkie. Static answered back. Then the bouncing stopped. I stepped out to the main aisle, and that S when I saw it, a single red rubber ball sitting in the center of the floor. The strange part was, the box of balls was still taped shut behind me. I hadn't opened it yet. I stared at the ball for a long moment before nudging it with my shoe. It rolled gently to the side and tapped against the shelf. I told myself it must have fallen earlier during the day shift. I tried to ignore the chill running up my arms. Then the overhead lights flickered. Once, twice, and suddenly the entire store went black. Total darkness. The kind that makes you feel blind and small at the same time. My heart started pounding so hard it hurt. A few seconds later, the red emergency lights kicked on, washing the store in a dim crimson glow. The aisles looked longer somehow, the shadows deeper. I grabbed my radio again. "Carl, power's out in toys." There was a crackle of static, and then I heard breathing, slow, steady, too close to be coming from a speaker. I lowered the radio slowly, my pulse racing. That's when I noticed someone standing at the far end of seasonal. Tall, completely still, watching me. Relief hit first. I assumed it was one of the other workers messing with me. Stores closed, I called out, forcing a laugh. It's very funny. The figure didn't move. I took a few careful steps forward. As I got closer, I noticed the Walmart vest he was wearing looked wrong. The logo was faded and old design the company stopped using years ago. His head tilted slightly to the side, and when he finally turned fully toward me, I felt the air leave my lungs. His face was pale, almost gray under the red lighting, and he was smiling. Not a normal smile. It stretched too wide, like his skin was pulled too tight. His eyes didn't blink. "You're not supposed to be here," he said softly. His voice echoed unnaturally, as if it wasn't just coming from him, but from the shelves around us. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. The lights flickered again, and in that split second of darkness, he disappeared. I ran straight toward electronics where Carl was working. I nearly collided with him in the main aisle. He looked shaken. "Did you see him?" he asked. Before I could say anything, my stomach dropped. "The guy in the vest?" I replied. Carl nodded slowly. "Check the cameras," he whispered. We rushed into the security office and stared at the monitors. On every screen, the tall man appeared, in grocery, in apparel, in automotive, standing still, smiling directly at the cameras watching us. The timestamps on the footage glitched rapidly, flashing between the current time and 2:43 a.m., over and over. 2:43, 2:43, 2:43. "That's when it happened," Carl muttered. 2 years ago, overnight employee went missing. Cameras failed. Corporate said he quit. My hands felt numb. He never clocked out, Carl added quietly. The monitors suddenly burst into static. Emergency lights shut off again, plunging us into pitch-black darkness. Then the intercom crackled to life, even though it was programmed to shut down after closing. A distorted announcement echoed through the empty store. "Attention Walmart associates, the store is now closed. The voice glitched, repeating the word closed in a warped loop before cutting off abruptly. That's when we heard footsteps in the hallway outside the security. Office, slow, heavy, deliberate. The door handle began to rattle violently. Carl shoved a filing cabinet against it as the metal shook under the force. Then, just as suddenly, it stopped. Silence swallowed the room. 3 slow knocks followed. Tap, tap, tap. A whisper seeped through the cracks around the door. You stayed past closing. The temperature in the room dropped so fast I could see my breath. The lights flickered back on weakly as the door creaked open by itself, pushing the cabinet aside like it weighed nothing. The tall figure stepped inside. Close, I could see his name tag hanging crookedly from his vest. The letters were scratched and faded, but I could just make out the word Night Associate. He looked at us with something almost like sadness. We locked him inside, he murmured. He waited for morning. Morning never came. Carl swung a fire extinguisher at him, but it passed through like smoke. The figure leaned close to me and whispered, "Clock out." The lights exploded back to full brightness. Morning staff found us unconscious on the security room floor at 5:12 a.m. Police were called, but there were no signs of a break-in. System logs showed no power outage, no intercom activity. The security footage, completely normal. Just us working quietly all night, no tall man. No door shaking, nothing. Carl quit that day. One of the other associates transferred stores. I tried to stay, convincing myself it was exhaustion or stress. But every night at exactly 2:43 a.m., the toy aisle lights would flicker. And sometimes I'd find a red rubber ball sitting in the center of the floor, even though I made sure to clear the aisle before leaving. My last shift ended when I opened my locker before work and found an old Walmart vest folded neatly inside. The logo was outdated. The fabric smelled faintly burnt. A name tag was attached. It read, "Night Associate clocked in, 11:02 p.m." There was no clock out time. Under the name printed in faded letters was mine. I walked out immediately and never went back. But sometimes, when I drive past that Walmart late at night, I see someone standing just inside the locked automatic doors. Tall, still, wearing faded vest, smiling, waiting for someone else to stay past midnight. Sometimes, when I wake up suddenly in the middle of the night and check my phone, the screen reads 2:43 a.m.